We could do a running session on this. That'd be really interesting, wouldn't it? Nice running session on this. But we could even spice up even more by saying that I bought this branch line EZ Command 21 pin decoder. Ooh, how about we put that in and run that nice long running session? Oh, that sounds interesting, don't it? Yeah. Sounds a bit boring. Now here's something a little bit more interesting. I've been after getting a Class 37 sand chip, and as you know from my previous video, I just couldn't get one anywhere. So did manage to get one, and now I'm thinking what we could do is maybe a video on this Hornby sand decoder Class 37. We could pop that in there and do a running session on this. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? And we could add a, I don't know, a Mega Lego Man Bolifia Mega Bass double iPhone Supersonic. Here we go. Nutty running session on it. How great does it sound? Oh. Sounds boring. As you probably saw in the title, and like I mentioned in my last video, I wanted to build something a little bit different. Now we're looking at this, as you know, it is a scratch build. Well, of course it's different. Every porthole to a tunnel looks different, especially scratch built as well, not your standard Scaldale or whatever. Not that I'm knocking any of it. But this is not what I've done the video for. This is not the unique as anyone done it before scratch build. But I needed to film this because this thing, this thing here nearly ended my career in model railway. I'd painted it so many times and stripped it down and repainted it, and you know from my previous videos I'm really fussy and things have to look right. When they don't look right, I don't like it. I ain't having it, and that's the end of it. So with this one, to be honest, I can't even remember what I actually done, but you can work it out where the bricks actually are. You can see some different coloured brickwork weathering. You've got the sort of grey salty look on it as well, where the salt's coming out of the brickwork. Managed to keep these in as well and sort of pick them out as well. The lintels, as I mentioned in my other video, they would have had them lintels. They would have had to have had them lintels because the structure and design of the actual porthole. If I told you wouldn't believe me, it involved Brillo pads and scraping and washing, and I use Vallejo, I use Citadel paints, and in the end I come up with this, which I actually really liked. I mean, this was about, I think it's about the 367th attempt on actually trying to make it sort of look any good. And inside the tunnels, you can still see behind there that I ain't finished none of that. None of that's been done. I will get round to doing it. I'm really keen on getting this done as well. It's one of the big things that it has just taken up so much of my time trying to get it to look like this. But I don't know if you would agree. I mean, I really like it. Not unless it's because I've been looking at it for the past 4,000 hours, and it's spent over 500 man hours putting into it as well. But yeah, it actually looks quite nice. Well, I think it looks nice anyway. But this is going to be a really short video. Infamous words. But it really is. It's mainly about this. It's been trying to get this painted and weathered. As you'll see from the last video, it was all grey. It was primed in Citadel primer. You can see on the top that the coping stones up there. I mean, it's still in that primer. But I managed to eventually get all this done, so I think it looks all right. Like I said, once I get the tunnel walls done and whatever, then it's going to look a lot different and a lot nicer as well. But let us know what you think, because as you know, as always, so always listen to your comments and whatnot, and I do take quite a lot of notice. Before anyone comments on this tunnel mouth, I've watched almost every single model railway and modelling video on how to paint this textured plastic hard brick stuff. So if someone says check out Paul at Galgorm, check out Dave at Dean Park, trust me, it's done. I've spent so much time on it. It's just been unbelievable. But this is not, I'm not going to bang on about this because it's boring. Just like, well, I don't want to offend anyone. I'm fitting decoders with a running session, and it's just, that ain't my thing anyway. But what I do want to show you is, has anyone ever scratch built this before? There you go. Let's see if it can focus. London Underground D-Stock. Now this D-Stock train, well, this D-Stock coach or front engine, as you might want to call it, this has actually been scratch built. I scratch built this, I scratch built it, believe it or not, out of 0.5 plastic card and 2mm plastic card to support the structure. Everything has been carefully done in exact scale. If you look at drawings or pictures on Google, now remember that this ain't finished. I ain't done the sign at the top saying Upminster, Richmond or Wimbledon, wherever the destination was. There's also a little whistle as well that's got to go on there. It's in desperate need of weathering, although the bottom undercoach I've weathered. It has actually got some sort of an interior that I started on. It ain't got any benches or nothing in there. I'll show you in detail in a moment, but I am going to fit passengers in there and whatnot. I don't know, you can see, but let's get round here. No, oh, you might do. Oh, there you go. Yeah, there's a driver in there. There's also a working interior as well. That's also been semi-scratch built, if you like. Right, so how did I manage to do that then? We know about the plastic card and whatnot, but how did I actually do it? As you can see underneath, it's actually done on an old HST chassis, and it's actually the dummy car for this one that I scratch built when I wasn't well with a virus in my room that you already know about. But so with a dummy coach, I thought I'd have a little experiment. Obviously I ain't got the same amount of time on my hands as what I did have when I was in my bedroom, but doing the HST. But basically what I've done here, you can see that I took the HSE dummy chassis. The weight's still got to go in there. It's going to fit in there nicely as well. Just gave it a little spray of Malrach sleeper grime. Then what I've done here is I've chopped up the HST's cab. Now, as you know, the cab sits back here. Little prongs hold the cab on. But what I've had to do is I've actually, let's wobbling too much, I've had to cut away the seats in the HSE interior and actually move the seats up the front here. Moved them up the front, moved it over to the left hand side, which looks like the right hand side, but from behind it, it's left hand side. Now the reason is all the photographs that I looked at of the D-Stock district line, the drivers were always sitting on this left hand side. You'd never see them sitting on the right hand side. It just so happened that the HST's interior, sorry about it, keep going out of focus all the time, probably my wobbly hands, was actually positioned in the middle, which meant that, I don't know, it just didn't look right. I could have probably have got away with it, but I had to cut the seat, use green stuff to remold it, and yeah, to try and get some sort of driver's cabin, driver's interior. The buttons that you can see, the buttons are actually based on the actual real D-Stock buttons, with the green button over to the far right. You've got the red ones, the red control lever, and then you've got the doors closing left and right on there as well. It's not the greatest of interiors, but it does give a pretty good impression, or resemble, once it's behind that that shell that I've built. But there you go. So, looking at this, like I said before, it's made out of plastic card. There are some bits and pieces that I need to repair on it. There's some little gaps and little grooves. You could probably work it out just there. It's not been weathered yet as well. The weathering will probably cover a lot of it up, but maybe use some green stuff on it. We've got the handrails up the front there, the metal handrails as well, made out of paper clips. But there are some indeficiencies or discrepancies on here. Just there you can see there's a bit there. But it don't actually look too bad. I might even be able to fit lights and stuff to it as well. If you look underneath the way I've done the interior part is just cut out of plastic card, making these gangways with the windows that would have been glazed originally. But it's just trying to cut the plastic card to make it actually strengthen and support the actual structure that I'm making. Now you can see here that the plastic card inserts are cut shorter. So when it actually sits on top of the HST, the actual HST body, I'm not going to be able to properly do this off camera, but hold on, I might be able to. But actually just pushes down and it clips on. It's too difficult. Oh, hold on, I've done it, yeah. There you go, and it just pushes on like so. Glazed as well. As you can see, there's glazing in there. It does need tidying up. It still needs quite a bit done to it. It needs weathering as well. The roof needs some sort of detailing done on it. But I don't know. I mean, I actually quite like the way it come out. Now, there is actually a reason behind me doing this. When I started modelling this model railway, it was always on my mind about the trains I want, the trains that I wanted, not just from wanting for Christmas as a kid like the HST, but I also wanted a train that means a lot to me. Now this D-Stock District line was actually the train that I've travelled on more than any other train, well, end of really. So I had to get, now I have to be careful what I say because this is YouTube and I don't want to offend people, but basically I tried to get hold of one of these and the only one I could get was on there's a store online, I'm not going to say the name of it, but basically I rang them up, I inquired about it because I really have to have it, especially where it goes to Upminster. Upminster links onto Cranham Village, so I just had to have one. Anyway, I looked at the website. I couldn't work out the pricing because the pricing was telling me it was £91 for an empty body shell for one of these, without the glazing, without painting. And when I spoke to the guy, he said it does come a little bit orange peely. Orange peely? What, £91 for an empty shell, and it comes orange peely that you got to sand out and you got to paint it and you got to glaze it and you got to put it on a chassis and so on and so on. £91 for a body shell, that's too much. I don't care how much you want it. Well, it don't matter how much you want it, how much I want one. I ain't doing it, and that's the end of it. So I thought I'm gonna scratch build one. I'm gonna make one myself. The windows, as you see from the video, are cut out perfectly as well. They're perfectly measured up, perfectly cut. Same with the front, perfectly, well, not probably do a couple of little tweaks here, but you can see, I mean, that's going to be pulled off easily once that's going around the circuit. I need the Randalls on here as well, the London Underground Randall. It only has one on this driver unit and it goes right there. It's got single opening doors as well. Like I said, could do a bit of weathering, do it tidying up, but like I said in the title, has anyone actually ever scratch built one of these? Or do they go out paying 91 quid for an empty body shell that they have to glaze and so on? But that ain't for me. You know me by now. I like things. I like to look nice. They've got to be detailed, got to be accurate, and so on. If you want to see some of the London Underground stock as well, I hope you don't mind me saying, but there's a guy that I've been following on YouTube for a little while. Eric French, he's now changed his name to Eric Underground on his station. But check his rolling stock out as well. He hasn't got D stock the same as this. He's got the central line stock and a couple of other bits and pieces. But this one means more to me. I've scratch built this as well, so there ain't another one like it. And I don't know if you would agree. So far, I ain't really doing a bad job on it. So, yeah, so there you go, yous lot. So this is what I wanted to show you. Tried so hard to get hold of one of them. Nowhere does them. Bachmann do them as well. Not the D stock. They don't do this. They're starting to do a London Underground stock, ridiculously priced and whatever. So there you go. I'll be back again soon. This was the main thing. It was about the tunnel mouth, which wasn't the idea of the video. The idea of the video was about doing this. I've never seen anyone do it before. If they have, I'd love to see a link and share some ideas and whatever, and techniques on how they went about doing it. But, well, that's what I've got to bring you for now. Don't know what's going to happen in the future with this lockdown thing, but it does mean more modelling, more time and whatever. But on a more serious note, I hope everyone's staying safe and take care, you lot. All the best. Ciao.